their foothold, right? This is their first tournament action.
Yeah, definitely. It's impressive that they've both gone 1-1 so far. One of these guys will be, of course, going 2-1 and 1-2 unless we get a tie, which would be really exciting. But we are underway now.
Indeed, we'll get the two streams synced up shortly, but in the meantime, we have FajitaKnight finding 3 bombs in the Link's house chest. Belmont will collect his as well, so that's really nice, Melly. We won't even have to worry about bombs as we go through the escape.
Yeah, that'll be really nice, as long as we don't find bombs and Uncle. Then it's really nice.
Well, we did actually, we checked up on these 2 runners' questionnaire responses, and I believe Belmont specified he actually would like to find bombs in the escape. That's something.
That's pretty impressive. I dread bombs pretty much universally, at least from Uncle.
Well, no such luck today. We will be doing the escape with the hammer. A nice, easy-to-use weapon. A little bit awkward, of course, with the hitbox, but it will certainly be a lot easier than trying to deal with bombs, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's basically like a sword, only it's really good. It's better than 2 of the swords.
Yeah, it's basically equivalent to a tempered sword for the most part, other than that, man, that hitbox when you swing to the left or right is pretty awkward.
Yeah, it can be. Okay, we did a good map check. Looks like 2 crystals, 1 at Tower of Hera, 1 at Easter Palace, and a blue or red pendant at a Desert Palace?
Yeah, I think that was blue, but I'm not 100% sure. In either case, it was a pendant, not the green one. And we'll find out as we go. But for now, got some escape ahead of us before the runners will be able to do that. The hammer, of course, we already want to start thinking about how that'll work into the routing. And for now, it's not going to make a lot of difference, is it?
No, unless we find something like gloves and mirror or powder. Like, the hammer doesn't do a whole lot for you before you actually get Dark World access, it seems like.
Yeah, it's just such an important complementary item. And of course, having it as a weapon accessible to you this early is really nice. So both runners are opting to kill a few extra enemies here and there just to see what drops they can get. They don't really need more bombs yet, but it'll certainly not hurt to get some. And FajitaKnight was even lucky enough to pick up a full magic decanter, which could potentially be helpful in a little bit.
Yeah, those are not easy to get without boots, so it's really nice to be able to fill up your magic right away.
Other items so far, though, not really lighting anyone's world on fire. We got 300 rupees. That's fairly nice, at least. It'll make money concerns somewhat minimal. And we also just got a piece of heart here.
Yeah, the early money is really nice, especially if we happen to find Moon Pearl along the way, because it makes the sequence break into Zora's area a lot more tempting. But if you can just buy the item, it becomes much less risky to skip that.
I really like the strat by Belmont to make sure he's killing the ball and chain guard right next to the gate. Ooh, FajitaKnight having a very scary moment there, but he does manage to survive. And we'll probably pick up a few spare hearts on the way out here.
Yeah, luckily there are hearts underneath these spots, so...
And unfortunately, if you're experienced with the open mode, where you can, navigate the escape kind of more freely, it's not forced at the beginning of the game, then taking a death there is actually sometimes good because it'll send you back to the front of the castle. But in this case, in standard mode, it actually sets your respawn point back inside Zelda itself. So you really, well, I guess if you've saved Zelda. Before that, ugh.
Yeah, you don't want to die right before rescuing Zelda. That's literally the worst spot you could die. Pretty much.
I'd have to say it would be a toss-up between that, like, right before collecting the items at the end of the escape. That would be pretty bad, too.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad. They do manage to get through it without dying, which is really nice. I'm going to be heading up in the dark section of the escape now.
Yep, and as always, taking advantage of the free light cone that is afforded to you as part of standard mode. That light cone will always be there inside these sewers. You don't need the lamp. You will need it for other dark areas of the game, but for this particular section, it will always be lit for you.
Yeah, and the shelf will stay open. That's important to keep in mind in case you get through here and you don't actually get bombs for the items in the back and you don't find a glove, because it's very possible your progression is in the backside with the 3 items. So you don't want to forget about that.
Yeah, we'll see what they do get. I don't believe we've seen the map yet, so pretty good chance the map will be inside that room, but if it's not, it will be inside the sanctuary chest, and they can even potentially skip that. But here's one. Oh, well, there you go. There's the map.
Speak of the devil.
So it's a narrow early lead for Belmont. Of course, going to be pretty insurmountable. There's really not much that can happen in the rest of the run that would, change this lead. I'm being incredibly sarcastic.
Yeah. It's just over this one. We can pack it up, right? But no, this is
the earliest randomizer win ever, recorded 5 minutes in.
Yeah, that map was just the final nail in the coffin.
Another nice red rupee drop for Belmont there. FajitaKnight having to chase down his rat while Belmont finds a glove inside the escape chest. So there you go.
Oh man, that would be the worst. Not getting any bombs before that and the gloves there, that's just, that's a nightmare.
Now, FajitaKnight on one heart wants to be a little bit careful here. You don't want to take a death even after picking these things up, and there are hearts under these pots, so he will collect that. It was a red rupee and a piece of heart in the other chest, which, again, not super special, but, I mean, the piece of heart eventually will add up to something nice, at least.
Yeah, the rats, at the very least, do, like, I believe, a quarter heart of damage, so there's not a huge risk of dying here, but you still have to be careful. You don't want to get taken by surprise.
Yeah, exactly. So we're on our way out of the sanctuary now on Belmont's side. FajitaKnight will be following up shortly. Got another 50 rupees from the old man's chest there. So pretty well set on money. We'll definitely be able to pick up the bottle vendor item in Kakariko Village for 100. And then potentially when they run out of bombs, assuming that they don't get some from a tree pull, they'll even be able to buy replacement bombs.
Yeah, and having the early money is also really good, like I said earlier, just for early routing, in case you want to go to that Zora area. And of course you do need some later for Palace of Darkness, dig game, anything that requires it. It's really nice to have it now than have to worry about later.
Meanwhile, Belmont discovered to his joy that the tree pull from the tier 2 tree pull from coming out of the Escape Wars bombs, and also the bush crab has 8 bombs, so no problem when it comes to bombs in this seed. FajitaKnight is going to pick up the bush off the bush crab and find the same thing, so he's just very slightly behind Belmont, but otherwise they're following a pretty standard opening pattern here.
Yeah, it's real nice to be able to spend money on that. It's just a piece of heart in the Lumberjack Cave, unfortunately. Well, unfortunately for us, I guess, as spectators.
You know, sometimes I'm happy to see like a good old-fashioned jet seed. Well, here's a hook shot for Belmont inside the drop-down chest there, so that's certainly a step towards having a, quote-unquote jet seed.
Yeah, it is. That hook shot's really useful, especially with the hammer. Death Mountain isn't in Logic right now, but we could opt to sequence break up there, and there are a lot of items we can get up there with the hook shot and the hammer. So finding that's really nice.
Yeah, we'll see how both of these runners feel about things like dark rooms. One of the, kind of first things that becomes apparent as you learn Randomizer, and of course both these players having picked it up within the last half year or so, you find out whether, whether you're capable of doing certain kinds of sequence breaks. Fake flippers is kind of a straightforward one, but then stuff like dark rooms are a little more challenging, and some runners opt not to try learning that stuff and just follow the logic kind of strictly, but other runners try to learn those more quickly.
Yeah, I feel like it's becoming more common in this standard mode since the last tournament that we had. We did have I believe we had lamp effective in all the Light World dungeons regardless, so you had more leeway to actually find the lamp early, but now it's sort of just a given, I guess, that you're probably not going to find it for a while, but we'll see. We will see, as you said.
Yeah, so Thieves Hut, not providing a whole lot of value here, just some rupees, some pieces of heart. Blue mail, that's actually pretty nice. I shouldn't talk down blue mail. That'll be really great for these runners, especially since they're still sitting on 4 hearts. I'm sure they'll be happy to have that. And there's a Cane of Samaria in the back of the well. Another important progression item that, again, does not really do anything for them right now.
Yeah, and there's a situation where that's not actually required, quote unquote, but you want to see that. Even if it's not required, you don't want to worry about that at all.
Wow, the bottle vendor giving us back 300 rupees in exchange for our small investment. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's what you get for investing with him. And all those other seats where he has trash, that's the payoff.
Well, continuing through Kakariko, we did manage to get all the way up to 6 hearts. FajitaKnight will be there shortly with Belmont, collecting his heart container from the chicken hut. And just a few more locations to check here in Kakariko, and really we don't have that much. We got a hammer, a hookshot, a moon pearl, and gloves. So okay, there you go. There's Dark World access. Never mind what I was just saying.
Ooh, man, Dark World access, 10 minutes. That's the danger zone, in my opinion, because of how many item locations it actually opens up. It becomes really hard to predict what the seed wants you to do at that point.
Yeah, and there's also, of course, the standard kind of set of Light World plays that you would want to make without having Dark World access. There's always the South Shore with the dam and the mini Moldorm Cave. There's always Eastern Palace. Death Mountain Sequence Break, as you mentioned earlier, is definitely still available. We'll see what the runners opt to do. Without a mirror, it might be less tempting to go into the Dark World quickly, but we'll see. You know, maybe Belmont will say, I'm just going straight to Hype Cave. Let's do it.
Yeah, we'll see. South Shore is definitely a very safe play, especially when we have all this money. We can get a lot of items down here. And Dark World, we do have Blue Mail, we have 6 hearts. That's not like the worst scenario to go into Dark World, but it's not the ideal scenario either.
Yeah, I would take another 12 hearts on top of this, definitely. All right, so we are seeing that dam and mini Moldorm Cave from Belmont. We'll see whether he decides to include the Ice Rod Cave with this as well. It's a pretty awkward spot to route in. But first, we're going to see what's outside the dam. Inside was just bombs.
Just a piece of heart. Opting to skip that.
All right, well, FajitaKnight just following in his footsteps. FajitaKnight pretty much making all the same decisions as Belmont so far, which not that surprising. You know, the early game is pretty standard for most players, but he's just kind of trailing slightly behind. We'll see as we get a little deeper into the seed, FajitaKnight will have an opportunity, you know, to kind of not just even out that difference, but potentially make a huge difference for himself by, you know, his routing choices.
Yeah, there's actually quite a few places they could opt to go after this. The South Shore makes sense. You're pretty much always going to check this no matter what the seed, so you might as well see if you can get some better equipment for Dark World. Let's find a bottle with a red potion in it. So that's our first one.
Yeah, and that was all. Everything else was rippies and just crap. So not a very lucrative mini Moldorm Cave. Dam not proving very lucrative either. I mean, I guess literally in terms of money, it was pretty lucrative, but that's not really what they're looking for. So Belmont will continue on to Ice Rod Cave, and FajitaKnight will see whether he decides to do the same.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this location. It seems unlikely that it'll have much now, just because we found so much, but you never know when you're going to come back here. So it's good just to get this out of the way.
It's actually funny that you describe this as having found so much, because to me, I look at this setup and I'm like, man, I feel like I've got nothing right now. Well, it is just 5 rupees, so your intuition was more correct here. Belmont is walking out of Ice Rod Cave, so he looks to be doing some fake flippers action, while FajitaKnight will continue on to Ice Rod Cave. You know, I've been seeing, I feel, less and less of his fake flippers play lately, Ballet. I feel like it's got a little bit out of vogue lately.
Yeah, it has. I think part of that is that sometimes you just don't get the early rupees, and it feels really bad to go up here just for the 2 items and the Wishing Well. And if you don't have Moon Pearl, you can't even get that. So, in certain scenarios, I feel like this is something I would always do. Like right now, I have enough money for Zora, I have the Moon Pearl. I don't see any reason not to in this scenario, but it does seem like it has become a little less popular.
Yeah, that's a great point about we've got enough money, you can include everything together. Now, FajitaKnight got knocked all the way down to 1 heart, so he was a little bit in a scary situation, and he went ahead and decided, I'm not going to bother with that fake flipper stuff. You know, he certainly might even know how to do the trick, but just doesn't feel that that's the correct route for him right now. So instead, he looks to be heading to the Dark World.
Okay, well, the old hobo under the bridge giving us the Quake medallion.
A nice execution of the reverse fake flippers by Belmont. Nice little setup from the hobo ledge to be able to set up that same glitch, so he can now continue north, get those waterfall fairy items, get that Zora item and at least see what's on the ledge, while FajitaKnight is going to get to see what's in our good old friend Hype Cave.
Alright, hype or not, let's see. Huh? Okay.
Okay.
Alright.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about that too. Like, all right, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see what that book does for us. Okay. Green pendant at Pod, red pendant at Mr. Meyer. I didn't get to see what these.
Those were Swamp Palace and Turtle Rock for the 5/6s. So, interesting combination of stuff. Turtle Rock will be required. That, of course, means Ice Rod's required, which, but Meyer may not be required. So that'll be an interesting thing to follow along the way here.
Yeah, we did find some good stuff for those areas thus far. Like the King of Samaria is of course required to actually get in Turtle Rock. The only other thing we actually need to get in, quote unquote, is the Mitts, and then we can get one chest in there, and that could be relevant if it's Quake, I guess. You know, I don't know.
Well, Belmont collected all his items from the Zora area, and unfortunately, they were all crap. He got his life lesson from Zora himself and is now heading towards Kakariko Village, so he'll probably enter the Dark World that way. Well, FajitaKnight's going to go a digging with his shovel that magically appears in your inventory.
It's just a Randall, of course. You know, it has to be like really hard to reset this game after somebody plays it.
Like refill all these different holes and put items in them. Whew, barely making it to the item before the timer expires. Unfortunately, FajitaKnight's reward is just an arrow upgrade, so not a particularly exciting one.
Nah, it does make up some of the money spent trying to play it, but yeah, that's just a small comfort, I guess.
Belmont having a good time with that menu. That is an incredibly awkward shape of the items in his menu. So now he's going to get his map check. He sees where everything is, and he is going to head directly into Skull Woods now.
Yeah, I feel like this is something you just have to do. This is just something you have to do, no matter what. Dip into Skull Woods on your first trip up here. Otherwise, it will bite you sometimes.
Yeah, all these locations are just immediately accessible as soon as you have Dark World access, and there's 2 items total that are non-dungeon items in Skull Woods, so it's not like you're going to get showered in items, but there's such a good chance that they're needed. Meanwhile, FajitaKnight checking with the Sick Kid and getting his lamp. You know what's now in Logic? Death Mountain.
That is pretty important. That's a lots and lots of items, and that's hair as well. We can get into the basement. Just get everything up there except Dark Death Mountain. So that's a good find.
Well, for now, FajitaKnight is not going to make that play because he could always pick up that Titan's Met somewhere along the way here. So he will continue to the north, get into his Dark World portal, and we'll see whether he likes the Skull Woods play or the Thieves Town play.
Yeah, of course it's awkward if Fire Rod is up on Death Mountain, but you know, no plan's ever going to be perfect. So you're here, you might as well dip in here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, you know, some noteworthy general of some sort said something like, "No plan survives contact with the randomizer." I'm pretty sure that's the one.
Yes, that would be something I would agree with for sure.
All right, FajitaKnight is heading into Skull Woods. Oh, I really like that use of the cane block by Belmont to take out those Baris there, get them out of his way, and now he will check this back chest, which has the first item he's found in all of Skull Woods, and unfortunately it was crap. So pretty much nothing good here for him. Maybe a little disappointing, but it's not that huge of a deal. Wow, that Gibdo though.
Yeah, the body block, man. They like their hugs. But yeah, I think you have to bite the bullet. There's some times when going into Skull Woods is just a waste of time, but there's some times when going to Skull Woods is like the thing you have to do. It's really important. So
Yeah, some seeds you drop into the little hole and you get an arrow upgrade and a bomb upgrade. Other seeds you drop into the hole and you get the bow and the Titan's Mitt. You're like, well, good thing I came here.
yeah, that's really hard to come back later, especially if you've got a lot of other stuff you can do. It can be a big waste of your time not to dip in there.
And what seems like a theme so far for FajitaKnight, he's running pretty low on health here. Just needs to be a little bit careful. But the good thing about dungeons is that, of course, if you take a death in here, you do just respawn back at the beginning. So maybe he'll opt for a tactical intentional death, as Belmont has wrapped around to the Village of Outcasts. Yeah, it does look like FajitaKnight's going to take that intentional death here. I really like this play.
Yeah, it's very easy to get tackled by some of the garbage bag enemies, I like to call them. And then you have to walk all the way back here, and that's not fun.
Well, just nice to haves so far in Belmont's Village of Outcasts. He got a bomb upgrade. I mean, I guess that's sort of nice to have. And
Sort of.
he got a heart container. So, where are the items, man? Where is everything?
Well, if they're not in Skullwoods and they're not in the Village of Outcasts, I'm gonna say they're probably in Thieves Town.
Belmont agrees, and so he's going to open the door and head on in and see what's there. We'll see whether he decides to clear the dungeon without a sword. Sometimes it's a little bit annoying, but he does have the hammer and the cane as potential weapons against blind, so he can finish it. Just kind of going to be up to him whether he wants to try for it.
Yeah, I think you definitely at least give it a try. And that way, when you come back, even if you don't clear it, Blind's there, he's waiting for you. Would like a little bit more magic to use the Cane of Samaria with, because the Cane of Samaria actually does make this blind fight a lot simpler if you know how to use it well.
Which, of course, is most people don't practice Cane of Samaria blind that much, so there's a question as to whether he does have that confidence level. But the hammer, of course, combined with he's got the blue mail, he'll probably get something nice in here in Thieves Town. It shouldn't be too bad of a fight, but we'll see. Every runner has different confidence/comfort levels with different things, so we'll see where Belmont's is. But so far, wow, this Thieves Town just giving out more junk items.
Yeah, gonna head to the back where all the good stuff is. And we did get that red potion as well, so that's another potential level of safety we have going to that boss fight.
That's a good point. FajitaKnight following in Belmont's footsteps, so basically both runners following the exact same path for the entire beginning of this seed, with the only difference being that FajitaKnight has made that Hype Cave play to find his book. And we'll find out in a little bit whether or not that book is going to majorly matter. And of course, also, Belmont will eventually get to Hype Cave. It's just a question of when.
Yeah, Belmont's probably going to be heading south after Thieves Town, one way or the other, just because of all the items in South Shore.
Oh boy, this the Hellway with no boots is just miserable.
Yeah, that room is it's really tough. If you have powder, it kind of, you can refill your health at the end of it, but without Tempered Sword, the bubble buddies will just get in your way all the time. The fire bars will just chase you. It's really a nightmare.
Yeah, Thieves Town in general is very, very dangerous if you're on low hearts and low levels of mail. With blue mail and 7 hearts, like even I would be a little bit uncomfortable in this dungeon, having played like hundreds and hundreds of random seeds for like the past year. So I would hate to think what it would be like if you've only been playing rando for a couple months.
Yeah, definitely. And it's one of these dungeons where things can go bad really quickly. Just if one of the grasshoppers runs at you. Ooh, it does get some magic from the pots there, so that'll be useful here in a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately, like almost none of the pots in this dungeon until the Maidens area actually have hearts in them, so FajitaKnight getting bunny beamed and turning into Celeste from Final Fantasy VI, the good old speedrun reference there. I love it.
Yeah, as you were saying, there's 1 heart in the conveyor room, and then there's 2 down here. And then there's 1, of course, right before the boss room, but other than that, there's really nothing.
And Belmont is just gonna make sure he kind of gets as many of these Zazaks killed as he can. Also picks up a heart container in the maiden chest, so that's pretty nice. Now he does not have the small key, so that actually means the small key of this dungeon is locked inside the big chest behind that key door, so he will not be able to open it, but he also knows that he doesn't need the item that's inside it. He can just head straight to Blind. Blind will have, I believe, the last item in this dungeon.
Yeah, that's a nice little time save when it happens. Just like the small key to Hera being locked in the basement and all that stuff. It's one less thing to check, which is always nice.
Well, here we go. 3.5 heart Blind. He's going with Hammer. Blind, not really a fan of insect pugs, and also not a fan of Belmont. Already doing 3 hearts of damage to him.
Oh, this is gonna be close. Oh my gosh.
Barely managing to get that potion off. Now he's back to full, but still has 2 entire phases to go with these heads floating around, and they are not kind. They are out to get him. Does get 2 more hits in, just 4 to go. There's the next one.
Oh man.
Doing the dance very effectively around these shots. It looks like he's got this. Just 1 more, and there it is. Very nicely done by Belmont.
And it could have gone way bad. But does turn on the matrix, I guess, and dodges the red bullet. Gets his first crystal at 26 minutes. Not bad.
Unfortunately, not getting any item of value out of Thieves Town. So again, where are the items? Got to be on Death Mountain, dude.
Yeah, it's looking quite likely. That's a good place for them too. I mean, if you're gonna put them anywhere, why not there? I mean, in theory, our next progression item could be all the way in pod in the first chest, or even deeper if it's not bow locked. But let's not hope for that.
Yeah, no. So Belmont is going to follow the South Shore path now, or the South Dark World path now, and visit the digging game, take 1,000,000 digs to collect an arrow upgrade. It's even the same like kind of digging approach here between these 2 runners. It's really funny watching this, as they're both doing so much of the same things. But now FajitaKnight is going in for his blind fight. He's busting out the Cane of Samaria. I am a big fan.
Yeah, this is definitely a very safe strat because you don't actually get near blind, and you can hit him twice with each block at least if you position it well. Sometimes the block does get in the way when you're trying to dodge, though. That's annoying.
Yeah, that's not a good time for FajitaKnight. He is down to 2 hearts now, and he does still have that red potion. And he
just drink it. Just drink it.
Yeah, he was having a few moments of second guessing that, but he drinks it and then gets the kill with only 1 extra heart of damage taken. So, you know, he's probably like, oh, I could have gotten away without the potion, but it's better to be safe than sorry sometimes.
Yeah, blind. I think with Lumail, we'll do 1 on contact, but you know, you don't want to be greedy. Just get it done.
Oh, I love that little play that Belmont just made. That shows you that Belmont, despite being very new, has clearly been kind of like studying up like how to, you know, get the most speed out. So he bounced himself intentionally off the little bomb shooting tree. So you clearly know that he's like watched people play and like studied the little things, and that's just a cool example of a very minor time save that it's really cool to see someone pretty new doing.
Yeah, the snap bounce, usually for new players it's unintentional, but that definitely did look intentional. And it's fun. It makes a nice sound effect. Yeah, so despite some early... Ooh, Belmont, are you going somewhere?
Oh, this is interesting. He does have that hammer. He could continue to the east.
Very interesting.
All right, so we will see that Palace of Darkness play potentially sooner than we thought. I'll bet he's most likely also checking Pyramid, which is definitely a good thing to get out of the way. But meanwhile, FajitaKnight is making the play up to Death Mountain that we've been talking about. He will be able to explore the vast majority of Death Mountain.
Yeah, there are so many items up here, and there's another crystal dungeon you can complete. He does have that lamp. Maybe the reason Belmont didn't immediately die for that as well is because they also don't have the lamp because they haven't checked Sick Kid. I mean,
Good point.
Yeah, Like, it does make sense to come over here if you feel like this is where you're being led. You can even go to Catfish, which is going to be hard to route in if you've already checked Zora area.
Well, I looked away for a brief moment and Belmont just walked past the pyramid ledge, so I'm guessing it was garbage. And yeah, now I see on the restream that it was 20 rupees. So not needing that, he will continue on to Catfish, which you just mentioned, and we'll see what's available over there. Oh, Bugnet inside a Spectacle Rock.
I mean, I love the bug net. I probably wouldn't get that, though. It's a bit out of the way. Still a bit.
A little bit, yeah. Even if you know the bomb jump to get back across that gap, it is a pretty significant time investment. FajitaKnight says, I'm confident without that I will be all right. So he is going to make inroads into East Death Mountain while Belmont will get to the Catfish and see what our briny friend has for us today.
Yeah, and if it's something good, this could be quite significant because this place is kind of hard to route in without the mirror.
Are catfish freshwater fish or saltwater?
I believe they're freshwater. Oh boy.
Okay, then. Wow. Well, that's pretty fresh.
There's some fresh kicks, man, for sure.
Well, with those boots, Belmont will be very, very happy and very free to navigate the game world, as FajitaKnight is navigating the Paradox Cave. Didn't find anything good on the bottom side. Belmont will be working on those boots locations while FajitaKnight checks out Paradox Cave. And here we go, 5 locations at bottom of the ferry. That'll be nice. 300 rupees. Yeah. A red rupee. A piece of heart. And the flippers. There you go.
Okay, so different footwear. I don't think Belmont actually checked the Bonk Rocks, unless I missed it.
Wow, are you right?
I think so.
Yeah, I looked away briefly, but yeah, it looks like he's going straight to Death Mountain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's more items up here, but that's on the way, and you know, if that's your next progression in the chain, kind of squandering your boots advantage a little bit, but we'll just hope that's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, you can always save and quit back to Sank at almost any time to do those, so it's not that huge a deal potentially. It depends, I guess, on what's in there. If mitts are in there or something, then that's an unfortunate play. FajitaKnight, meanwhile, showing again, you know, I was referencing Belmont kind of showing off something that reflected, you know, kind of studying the game. Well, FajitaKnight doing the same with that bomb jump out of Paradox Cave. That's another little thing that, like, like a total beginner, you would not expect them to, you know, to really know that strategy. But FajitaKnight showing, like, I've put in the time, I've really learned my stuff there.
And bomb jumps can be a little bit tricky to set up out of a sword because you can't get the spin set up. So that is one of the easier ones, but it's also not as easy as it looks. I know I failed that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy to mess up, but it's also not too hard to get. It's kind of one of those, like, weird situations where it's both easy to get and to mess up.
Yeah. Anyway, we are coming into Hera. This is our second crystal. And we can get everything here.
Oh, I'm not liking that small key in the first spot. Come on, give us a big key.
I'm not liking it for Belmont. I'm okay with it with FajitaKnight, because FajitaKnight does have the lamp, but if this is not a big key...
Alright, so he can continue up, and Belmont will be able to continue up as well, but there could be an item in that spot, and boy, that would be really a bad time for Belmont if that were the case.
Yeah, coming back up here, especially without the mirror, takes a while. Like, you're gonna make one more trip at least, but if you have to come back up here before you can actually make the trip you want to make, that takes quite a while.
Yeah, and even then, like, if you came back up to Death Mountain, you're still going to be looking to avoid doing Hera Basement. Even if it's a straggler location, you're like, I don't want to go in there and sit through 45 seconds of the Tower Room or whatever.
Yeah, definitely not. And Belmont also getting that bomb jump, really nice.
Well, there's an item, the Magic Powder for FajitaKnight. And FajitaKnight's even going to go for the Tower of Hera bomb jump. Now, this bomb jump kind of sucks a lot if you don't have the boots, but he manages to pull it off very cleanly, so nice job by FajitaKnight. Belmont will have a significantly easier time. The window of the position that you're allowed to position Link and then get the bomb jump successfully is much larger if you're able to perform a bonk using the boots. But if you don't have that, it's like 2 pixels, I think.
I believe right. I believe with the boots it's a 6-pixel window, and without it it's a 2. There is a very easy visual tell without the boots, but the problem with setting it without the boots is just that you run the risk of falling the hole much higher, which is bad because you fall down 2 floors, and that's not fun.
Oh man, Moldorm pushing FajitaKnight around a little bit. He is going for the
Oh,
hammer
no.
strats. Oh, unfortunately gets broadsided by him and knocked back down, but he did hit the safety switch, so he's got plenty of heart refills available, and he already has 10 hearts. Fortunately, Moldorm doesn't deal that much damage. He's just annoying.
Yeah, he's pretty annoying. Depending what you can range from a little annoying to very annoying. But yeah.
There's pretty good work on manipulating Moldorm's position by FajitaKnight, or I shouldn't even say manipulating, but just anticipating and following. Just, kind of getting bodied a little bit, but that's mostly because the hammer hitbox is awkward, and the timing can be very difficult to get consistent 100% of the time. But he's doing a really good job here. He's got 2 hits down. There's the 3rd. So Moldorm goes down for FajitaKnight, and he will pick up what? A map.
Oh,
There's
boy.
an item in the basement.
That could be big. We'll see. And we did find the powder already. I don't know if we'll find 2 potentially great items. Yeah.
Oh, earlier I was saying that Belmont would have an easier time with the bomb jump, and well, he did have an easier time, and that's because he didn't have to bomb jump. I forgot they have both the hook shot and the boots, so Belmont was just able to hook shot over to the chest and then bonk his way back across.
Yeah, that's really nice. Just it's the easiest thing in the world to do usually, so always fun.
All right, FajitaKnight going for a little bit of fun in the tower room, but now he says, "All right, no, I'm bored of this already." So he's going to set up the take a coffee break strats.
Yeah, almost gets hit by the tile just before the switches go up, but does manage to get it. It's bad if the tile hits you and knocks you towards the door when you're setting that up, because now you're trapped. And he's walk stall, oh no. Oh, is he setting up the death warp? I think that's what. Yeah, that's smart.
Oh, Belmont getting knocked off the exact same way by Moldorm, so he will have to make his way back up and redo the fight. It won't obviously cost him much more time than it cost FajitaKnight, so it'll be pretty much the same deal for both of them. And here we go. This basement item is potentially huge. Belmont taking another fall as FajitaKnight finds the ice rod.
God,
oh
that's bad. That's probably the worst thing that could be there, because ice rod. Ooh, he's trying to death warp. Perry says, "Hey, I'm helping."
no! Spamming the lamp a little bit on the way out, like
Best laid plans.
Oh man. Alright, well, he will have to walk back out. He'll have to actually probably go back downstairs to hit that switch again because of this orange wall here. This dungeon's dumb, dude. There you go. Nice. Good use of the Cane of Samaria. He's smarter than I am, fortunately.
Yeah, but yeah, that ice rod is really bad for Belmont because, like we were saying, it only bottlenecks Trinex, and if Trinex himself doesn't actually bottleneck progression, that Tower of Hera basement can get put up for a long time.
Yeah, the ice rod is definitely one of the worst items in the game, as far as randomizer goes, for those reasons. We'll see whether Belmont is able to kind of make a second trip up here. Possibly the luckiest thing that could happen for him would be for the fire rod to be in Spiral Cave, because he might at least think, you know what, I'm going to go get that basement out of the way while I'm still here, because otherwise I never will. But we'll see. Both runners do in Spiral Cave, and they're both going to get the same item, and then I believe they're both done with Death Mountain. Spiral Cave was a big 20, so that's a bust.
Okay, so FajitaKnight's done. Did Belmont maybe... No? They were gonna hookshot over.
Perhaps Belmont did not check Spectacle Rock?
Potentially.
Or Old Man? No, he came up through Old Man, obviously, checked Old Man. Yeah, it must be Spectacle Rock.
Maybe he was putting this off on the hopes that he would find the mirror over there or an invincible item and he could do Spike Cave.
Alright, so here's FajitaKnight finally catching up on that Flippers stuff. And yeah, there's the save and quit out for Belmont. So hopefully for him, he will get to the sick kid before too long. That's going to be very, very important for him. But for now, this does not look like that. This looks like he is going towards the eastern area, either to take the portal into Pod or maybe just to go straight into eastern. And I don't believe either runner's checked the hostile yet, have they?
No, I don't think we've been over here yet. And this is something that's very easy to puff as well. Even though there are a lot of items over here, it's very easy just to ignore this area for a long, long time, and that can be bad. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
And we'll see which it is today. Belmont getting into Sahasrah's closet and finding the hidden cache of rupees and a heart piece. Wow. This is a seed, man.
This is something.
Belmont making pretty good use of the hook speed, the item dash technique on the ladders, but unfortunately finding that if you even touch a ledge while in hook speed status, you just immediately jump off, so getting trolled a little bit back there, but otherwise he's making really good use of this and other speed techs kind of throughout the run. It's been pretty cool to see.
Yeah, he's definitely done his homework on some of these, for sure, so that's cool. Alright, well there's 3 items in Eastern. This is a crystal. It's potentially would come back here at some point. But, you know, Belmont doesn't have a whole lot to go on right now. So, coming here makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, Sikhiv is still available, but is 1 item, whereas Eastern Palace having up to 3. Now, he might not be able to get the 3rd one because he cannot finish the dungeon, lacking the bow. So, that could be on Armos, and that could just be, you know, the next thing that's important could be there, but we'll see. FajitaKnight, having finished up his Flippers checks, is saving quitting back to the house. So where's he going? Same spot, maybe?
It does
Sure
look like
looks
it.
that way. So the nice thing for Belmont here is he has the boots, and that's going to kind of afford him an ever-increasing amount of like advantage over FajitaKnight until FajitaKnight finally gets to that catfish. Now, the real question is whether the boots are going to be required, because if they're not, then FajitaKnight might just end up doing this seed bootless, like all the way through.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. Desert Palace is not a crystal, doesn't mean there's not going to be anything there that we need. The only other thing that boots could potentially unlock are the graveyard locations and the GT torch, which could be important. That could be very important. Like against our big king, you can't complete the game without that. If it's on the torch, you need the boots for it for sure.
Yep, it is really unusual. You know, you mentioned those. Oh, Belmont, you're gonna have to do some dark rooms here. He seems pretty confident. He immediately nails that first room, so I'm guessing he's done this a fair bit. Just trying to get a hold of that pot on the right side. There it goes. But yeah, he's been kind of avoiding those dark rooms. Gosh, those boot locations for some reason. It's been really weird to see. Usually you'd get those boots and kind of save and quit directly to Sanctuary. But in Belmont's case, he's decided not to do that.
Yeah, I mean it's nice to be able to get both of them and potentially the graveyard ledge at once, but at the same time, you're passing by the bonk rock so many times, it's very possible it just slipped his mind. Okay, well this is fun. Good luck.
Alright, he made it out. He made it out. He's good. With half a heart. All he needs to do is go open the big chest. So unless he accidentally walks into a Stalfos here in a moment, he'll be fine. And then he'll be done with the dungeon as well, so he'll save and quit out. Oh, there you go. Okay, he did not accidentally walk into a Stalfos.
Okay, so silver arrows.
They do literally nothing for him right now. They will be very nice later on, though.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe if FajitaKnight... Well, FajitaKnight's already here, so they're gonna get it for sure. But if they weren't here right now and they were in go mode, it's possible they would have skipped that, but that's not gonna be the case today.
Yeah, this is This is interesting. Belmont's still dodging those boot locations. He is heading towards desert, I'm pretty sure. He does have that book, so he's got access to the dungeon. He has boots, so even if that dungeon's boots locked, he's good to go. But he doesn't have a fire source, so he can't finish the dungeon.
And that's the real danger here, because Belmont's making some of these dips. Of course, the Tower of Hera, there's the ice rod there, he's leaving that behind. So some of these like half dips where you don't actually complete the dungeon, don't get all the items out of it, can be really dangerous, because you're going to be much less tempted to come back here later, for sure.
Well, as he opens that up, FajitaKnight continues through Eastern Palace, just following Belmont's footsteps as he has for literally the entirety of the race, with the one exception of doing the sick kid and not doing the catfish. So there's that one item difference where Belmont's got those boots and FajitaKnight's got that ice rod, and one of them, or both of them, I guess, is going to come out with a huge advantage as a result. Question is which one?
Yeah. The thing with FajitaKnight is I can definitely see them clearing up Eastern and maybe death warping, or just saving quitting and coming into Palace of Darkness to check that, or just going straight to Pyramid and Catfish from here. It's hard to say at this point.
Pyramid and Catfish really do seem like very good options right now, because there's not a lot else. There's no mirror, there's no mitts, there's no fire rod. Like, what can you even do aside from what they've been doing? I think really that's going to become kind of his only option in the very near future.
Yeah. I think if I were FajitaKnight, I would be putting a lot of weight on the powder, just because we can get that. And the fetch quest items, at least for me personally, when I get those, I like to knock them out immediately, just so I can't get trolled by them. Even if they're not the most optimal option or anything like that, I like to give them a lot of consideration.
You know, it's a really good point. And the other thing, too, for Belmont at least, is that powder being accessible and available for him to turn in probably encourages him to also think about going back for sick kid. So that's actually a pretty good sign for him. It means there's a pretty good chance he'll get his lamp soon. Unfortunately, I don't know if that's going to help him with the Tower of Hera basement. That one, you know, you kind of have to gamble on, and we'll see whether Belmont's a gambling man.
Yeah, the optimal like scenario for Belmont with that Tower of Hera, unless he just feels like, okay, I'm not going to chance this, I'm going to go back and just be sure that's something. The other scenario is that he goes up to Turtle Rock gambling that the ice rod's going to be in Turtle Rock, and then he finds out it's not, and he heads over to Hera to check the basement, and then he can go straight back into Turtle Rock and complete that. That would be the ideal scenario, where that doesn't hurt him too much.
Right. Well, FajitaKnight is making that pyramid play, and I would guess, based on the fact that both players have routed dang near identically this entire seed, that his next destination after that will be the catfish. So he should be picking up his boots before too long. Now, based on the way FajitaKnight's playing, I'm guessing that his next destination after getting those boots would be the two boots locations. But that will need to be seen, I suppose.
We'll see.
Oh, geez, what is Belmont doing? Oh, there you go. Okay.
You know,
yeah.
it's easy to forget sometimes that you don't have a fire source, maybe you don't have a sword, and you get back to Skull Woods and you look like a little silly for it. It's very easy to forget, though.
Yeah, those are the kind of mistakes where you get really annoyed at yourself, like, oh, come on, like, I could know that I have the thing. But, like, it just sometimes happens, and in the middle of a randomizer seed, it's hard to keep track of so many different things simultaneously.
Yeah, you're thinking about what's going on screen. You're thinking about what your next move is going to be. Your mind is all over the place, and you might not think about things like that, you know, before they actually happen. So I've definitely been there.
So he actually he save and quit out of desert, and then is actually walking back, well, dashing back from Link's house to Agina's cave. So this is pretty interesting. He didn't do this before desert. FajitaKnight, meanwhile, does pick up his boots, and let's see where he goes. The immediate save and quit. Where to, FajitaKnight? Immediate sanctuary. This will be, unless something really crazy happens, this will be the boot location check. Oh, hey, and Belmont is joining us too.
Yeah, how nice. So we'll get these probably about the same time. FajitaKnight can also opt to go to the village and check the powder along this way. So this is good.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Belmont also head to Kakariko and check the Sick Kid as well as those powders, that powder location. But here we go. What's in it? Ah, it's just a big 20. Oh,
Alright.
save and quit from Belmont.
Huh, that's weird. He was in a good spot to go to Kakariko and check Sick Kid and the bat.
And so we had a very brief kind of sync moment there. Looks like he's going to... Looks like he is going to Kakariko, but from the south. This is interesting.
Yeah, I'm not certain why he's coming this way. Did he not check the library, maybe?
What was on the library, actually?
I have no idea. I want to say nothing, but okay, it was nothing. Just taking the scenic route today.
Yeah. So, I mean, a nice clear demonstration here. And one of the cool things is, you know that Belmont is kind of demonstrated that he's a student of the randomizer, basically. Well, you're seeing that there's a live demonstration that it is faster to go from the north. Rather, oh my god, I missed that. That was the mitt on the bat. Wow. Okay.
Some magic hand covers. That's really good item.
Well, you know what? That gives a very, very good excuse to go directly back to Death Mountain right now. For both runners.
Yeah, there's six or so items up here, and we can potentially dip into Turtle Rock and get some chests there. And even if we don't do that, we get information on what the Turtle Rock medallion is. So that's also very good information to get.
Yeah, Fajita headed directly to Death Mountain, and Belmont is going to do something different. Is this...
I hope they don't open Ice Palace. That's
It couldn't be. They don't have any fire source.
yeah, that they can actually. They can get in the door, but they can't actually do anything there.
All right, so he is heading to the swamp portal spot, but obviously he can't do swamp. So what is he playing? That's a fire rod for FajitaKnight in Super Bunny Cave.
That's a big one. I mean, that Turtle Rock is looking really good right now. If it's Quake, we will have to save and quit though, because he took the bottom portal. So we don't
Also
have the
gave
mirror
him.
first.
Oh wow, Belmont's going to pod. This is a really interesting play.
Oh my god, it's Quake. Of course, it's Quake.
So they already have access to Turtle Rock, and they have the items required to... Oh no, you know what? They don't. They don't have a sword.
Oh my god, that's exciting. Oh my gosh.
Wow. I kept thinking about, like, at some point in the commentary we'll bring up the fact that they don't have a sword, but so far it hasn't been relevant. And now, right now.
Unless there's a sword in Hookshot here, that wouldn't surprise me.
Well, there's a cape that's not really the same as a sword, or even related to a sword.
No, but that does give us logical access to Spike Cave, but that's gonna go in there.
I am not super surprised by that. A lot of runners will avoid Spike Cave. Also, just as easily could have just totally forgot, and then after the fact, I'm like, oh crap, I was supposed to do that or whatever. It just kind of varies between. I would think it would be more likely to have been kind of a forgot type of deal, because both of these runners have kind of demonstrated that they're a little more conservative. They don't want to avoid as many locations.
Yeah, and when we find that cape, the Spike Cave becomes very relevant. Ooh, there's our sword!
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, Belmont so far has just gotten a key, so Pod was not bow-locked, but now the question is, what else is he going to find here? This chest, also a key. He's going to continue directly to the back. This is always an interesting play. Pod routing is really tough sometimes, because the big key could actually be in the front of the dungeon, but it also could just be a shower of keys. There's 6 chests in the front, and at least 4 of them have to contain keys.
Yeah, because the game will never force you to soft lock just by using your keys badly, it will always make sure you can complete the dungeon or try its best to do that. And, you know, unless there's a bug, it will always let you do that. Okay, well, there's the big key. That's good.
Yeah, that's pretty fortunate for Belmont.
Another
There's a
sword.
sword. Well, now we know where 2 swords are, finally, after 50 minutes of being completely swordless for both players. Now each of them has 1.
Yeah, and that, I mean, it's possible if there's nothing else required in here, if FajitaKnight just doesn't come into pod, and that could give Belmont advantage down the line.
I feel like the way both runners are playing, it's pretty likely for FajitaKnight to make his way into pod before too long. But first he's going to go do Desert. He's going to check out Agina, get his disappointment from there, and then he will head into the actual dungeon. And he has the ability to finish it thanks to having both the lamp and the fire rod on his first visit.
Yeah, there's quite a few things FajitaKnight can actually complete now. We got Ice Palace, we've got Skullwoods, of course. We have...
no, Belmont.
Oh boy.
He
Oh
had
my
set up for the
God.
death warp, and the big chest gave him a piece of heart. That's hysterical. Unfortunate for him, though.
Oh man.
This is actually a really long trek out for him now, and because he didn't. Now I don't know necessarily if he has the experience to do a hammer jump, but because he didn't, he's short a key now, which means he needs to go all the way back to the front of the dungeon. And there may not even be enough keys for him to check, for example, the Harmless Hellway, which I believe has a chance of being a key in this seed for him. Sorry, being a non-dungeon item, I mean.
Yeah, I think it definitely could be. Yeah, we don't have the bow. We can't go on the... I guess we have a potion. If we have a potion, we go to the bow-locked areas and try and find one there. Not gonna
that's
have to do
true.
that.
Yeah, we've seen that both players have really done their homework and know their stuff, but you know, the bottle glitch might be a step too far in terms of I think that's too much of a sequence break. I don't necessarily want to try this. Now Belmont is making the Death Mountain play, and if he is you know, kind of lucky in terms of his personal routing today, he is going to make that decision to go finish up Hera as well.
Yeah, he would have to do that before he goes into Dark World, though, because he doesn't have the mirror. And it's gonna be really awkward. Okay, so he does go into Dark World, so that option's no longer there. It's gonna be really awkward if he finds this Fire Rod. Well, he can't actually go into Turtle Rock either because he also needs the mirror. So never mind.
Yeah, so that's actually kind of a double good thing for him. It will kind of force him to say, look, if you want to go to Turtle Rock, why don't you take a walk past this nice little Tower of Hera and think about going in and maybe there's an item there you want.
Oh man, I'm sure Belmont hasn't forgotten about that. They probably don't want to do that, and this Fire Rod might actually put it off for quite a while. We'll see.
Yeah, you never know. Like we can say whatever we think about our own personal routing, but every single person thinks about the randomizer and the routing differently. So he could easily just be like, of course I'm going to Hera right now. That's the only play that makes sense. Or he could just easily be like, I'm never going back to that spot because I've already decided if it has something important, I'm dead.
Yeah, it's a very realistic scenario, and I've definitely heard people describe very similar gambles and plays in that context. So we'll see. The only one who knows how this race is going to end is Belmont, I guess, at the end of the day.
Pretty much. Well, FajitaKnight has completed the first half of Desert, and so he's going to head into the back half. Belmont opting to save and quit outside of Hookshot Cave, so he will also skip Spike Cave for now. Only had 7 hearts left, and for whatever reason, just, didn't really feel like going all the way over there. So he is going to save and quit back to Sank. Where are we heading this time? Still Woods?
That would not be surprising. I believe we only found 1 item in there. I might be wrong, but I believe we only found 1, so...
I believe your recollection is correct, yeah. It was in the crappy chest, all the way that they both used Samaria to get to, but yeah. The other one is in the back, and of course Mathiel waits. Now, he only has a fighter's sword, but he does have 13 hearts in red mail, so I suppose it's not as terrible as it could be.
Yeah, I believe he also got a blue potion from Stumpy, which he hasn't used, so I don't expect he'll have any trouble with that fight. It's very possible he might still, just because Mothia doesn't cooperate and it fight's a nightmare, frankly. No matter what your equipment is, really.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what mail you have, those spike traps that move around the room deal 1 full heart of damage every single time, and there's lots of them, so it's not super fun of a fight, but you know, we'll see what his confidence level is. Certainly, if there were any boss fight that I would expect, you know, any runner to have practiced, it would certainly be Mothula.
Yeah, and this is another thing that, yeah, unfortunately missing some of the fire axe shots, but this is something Belmont could not do at the time. So if this is something big too, that's bad.
Well, FajitaKnight does go ahead and quaff the blue potion so he can just finish off the landmares quickly. I kind of like that approach of just like, look, if you have a resource, just use it. Like, that's what it's there for. And he did also buy a bunch of blue potions a little bit ago too, so there you go. There is his desert completion. It was a pendant, so it won't help his final completion of the seed unless that pedestal is required, but he does now have the knowledge that there's nothing on landmares.
Yeah, I mean, that's information we could get at any point. We do have the book. It's a little bit awkward to walk there, but we can figure that out very quickly if one of these runners decides to go check it.
Well, if he had Mirror, Belmont would probably be pretty likely to check it after this fight, so we'll see. But here we go with Mothula. Belmont going for some spin strats. Pretty good strategy if you're kind of unconfident. Adds a lot of lag, and that can actually make it easier to dodge. Sometimes you can kind of go into bullet time mode. So, you know, kind of mixing it up between the fire rod and the fighter sword spins and slashes here.
Yeah. Spins do, of course, slow you down, so if the conveyor belt's moving in an inconvenient way, it can actually cause you to get hit by the spikes. But, gotta use every trick in your book against Mothula.
Yeah, so far his fight looks pretty solid. We do have FajitaKnight heading into Ice Palace, while Belmont is continuing to get lots of good slashes in here, but you're seeing lots of these seeming to hit the spikes. And if Mothula touches the spikes, the damage gets negated, but looks like it was enough. Belmont is done with the fight, and he collects a bomb upgrade.
Well, that's not an exciting item by any means.
It's positively explosive, dude.
Potentially, if you fill it up.
That's true. It allows you to be more explosive, I guess.
But I mean, that's something we were gonna have to do anyway, and it's one item, so it's always good to come here and get that out of the way. If he didn't check Bumper Cave, this is the time he's gonna do it because he needed to get that cape.
Yeah, he is walking out so that he can perform that check. FajitaKnight checking that first chest in ice, and it was a compass. So still going to need to head quite a bit deeper into the dungeon before he even gets to check his next chest here. Ice, unfortunately, is pretty slow. You know, usually you're hoping to do it in go mode, which is very fast, but unfortunately, FajitaKnight thinks he does not have the luxury in this seed.
Yeah, it's really dangerous to put this off. It's 3 item locations, and if there's a small key in the first chest, even full clearing it doesn't take that long. But unfortunately, we don't have that capability today.
So far, the seed has been very interesting. Now, the runners' routes have finally diverged a bit. Before, they were doing literally the same things. Now it's diverged a little bit, but it's really hard to say that either runner has much of a lead or an advantage or anything other than the ice rod still looming over Belmont's head. But there's still a pretty good chance that when he goes up to Turtle Rock, that enters his, you know, his path.
Yeah, definitely. It's still pretty even, I would say. They've done some similar things, as you said, and you know, the Tower of Hair item, while it is inconvenient and it's probably low priority at the moment, it's still very accessible, very decently quickly. So that advantage of the ice rod is basically a candle in the wind right now.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know that it's going to mean anything until much later, if it ever does. So Belmont having Titan's Mid is going to do some of this Titan's Mid overworld, which unfortunately, because he lacks the mirror, is going to mean some save and quit and travel. So this is pretty slow, but could pay off big. FajitaKnight finds his first item in ice, and it's just a red rupee. He doesn't have the big key to check this big chest right now, so he's going to have to do some circumnavigation of the dungeon. Oh, and Belmont's heading into King's Tomb too, so he's going to be the first runner with a Master Sword here.
Yeah, I'll be happy to see that. That's we definitely need a Master Sword at least to complete the game. So, and if you find a Timbered Sword along the way, that's even better.
Yeah, I would be really surprised if FajitaKnight did not end up getting at least one other sword before too long. And of course, there is the one available in Pod, so that one seems pretty likely. There's the big key of ice. So still only one item found, but now he's going to get to the right side and he'll be able to check the next 3 locations kind of in short order. So we'll see what will come up at that point. Belmont's about to turn in the blacksmith. I guess at this point, it's kind of just a race for the mirror, really.
Yeah, the mirror seems pretty important. We would also like the bow, but bow is just Eastern Palace. Well,
Oh my god.
I had a feeling after you said, well, the mirror, you know, like, okay, we're gonna get the mirror here.
Of course, why not? Well,
Why
that's actually a miserable location for that. It might be a little while before FajitaKnight says, I totally want to save and quit with the blacksmiths.
Yeah, the other more bad spot for that is actually the purple chest, but it's bad.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to see Belmont do the purple chest next, and that will be a lot less crappy, but still somewhat crappy, because he does not have the flute yet, so he's going to have to walk it. But we'll see what he gets from that. Meanwhile, FajitaKnight now checking these remaining chests on the side. That's a second item. It's just a piece of heart.
Yeah, the one good thing, oh, Belmont making good use of the hook shot to buffer a dash, which does work. It's another nice little speed tech. He will be able to check this cave below the grove here with the mirror, so that's a small plus, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, this could be important. Like any of these mirror spots feels like it could be massive right now. This one yields a heart container. It's not especially massive, but you know, could be worse.
Yeah.
Could be another bomb upgrade.
It could be, yeah. I mean, he skipped it, so it could be anything. You know, we've gotten the same achievement, it seems. The Bombos tablet we can also check while we're down here. We can actually get that since we have Master Sword, so that's another nice little thing.
Yeah, FajitaKnight will still be walled off from those even once he picks up that mirror, but it'll be basically waiting on getting that next sword. He is almost done with Ice Palace, and he has found all but one non-dungeon item as far as I've seen. Purple chest just containing a red rupee. Belmont is going to save and quit out of here, while FajitaKnight is going to take a quick bunny beam, and he just wants to make sure he has sufficient magic to break Cold Steer's shell, which is actually pretty close right now, but I think he'll be alright.
Yeah, I think he might still have a potion, and there's 2 small pots here right before the boss, so I think he should be just fine for that.
Belmont heading to the east again, and it looks like he is making the Ice Palace play too. So we're going to have Belmont joining FajitaKnight in Ice Palace just a little bit after he does. He finishes up, that is. We'll see whether this play is important. Oh, good God. Oh God, no. They got loose. They got loose. No.
This is a fun fight when they all just they all get out of the corner. They're just doing whatever.
Fun is not the word I would use, Malay.
Well, you don't think this is fun? Just look at them. Who knows what they're gonna do? And maybe they charge you. He has to be careful. He does. Okay. Thank goodness he had red mail.
And having that potion as well, and now he says, okay, I made full use of my health bar. Now I'm going to murder these things with the fire rod. There goes one.
Playtime's over.
Oh boy.
Alright,
Okay, he's
playtime
got
starts
both.
again.
He's got them both softened up a lot. There goes the second one, and just the last one. There it is.
Yeah.
And it's a map. Okay, I miscounted, but FajitaKnight probably knew.
Yeah, that's a fight you just gotta be patient on. If you don't have a good sword or half magic or anything that like really just destroys them, you just gotta be patient because you don't want to die. That's the worst case scenario. The fight going a little bit longer, that's fine, but dying is out of the question.
Yeah, I think both runners so far have done a really great job in making sure that they don't die at any point. Like, they've both had a fair number of scary moments, and they've both totally survived because, you know, they had, well, of course, Belmont had an intentional scary moment that unfortunately got ruined by a fairy, but, you know.
Yeah. So they're so good at not dying, they actually can't death warp. That's why they both failed that. They're just too good.
Well, FajitaKnight is heading into Kakariko, so I think this is probably going to be the Titans mid overworld play, and he'll check his hammer pegs, get a bomb upgrade, and then collect his mirror finally. So again, he's going to be just pretty much neck and neck with Belmont, maybe slightly ahead even at this point.
Yeah, he does still have that ice rod, which we have the mirror. That Tower of Hair basement becomes infinitely easier to check because of that, but it's just a matter of if Belmont's actually going to prioritize that over anything else.
Oh, nice. Belmont is going for the bomb jump across this gap here, so he's got a pretty solid grasp on his Ice Palace routing, and he knows how to do it as efficiently as possible. Unfortunately, he can't go take this route down to the Ice Tea chest, which is kind of what you really want to be able to do. But that's all right. He'll still continue to the right and collect the right side chest. Unfortunately, as we know, there was nothing in here.
Yeah, there's nothing here. You still gotta do it. I mean, Belmont, this could be the everything and everything Cathalis, but it's the nothing and nothing Cathalis, unfortunately.
Oh, getting electrocuted by the Bari, but now he makes his way down. FajitaKnight picking up the blacksmith. He may kind of have forgotten that he doesn't have the mirror for a brief moment. No, looks like he's going to include, I'm guessing, a bumper cave check here.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else you can really do up here, so... But it's definitely good not to forget this location once you get the cape. I like to do it after my first Skullwood step just so I have the information, but you know, a lot of runners will opt not to check these like Lumberjack Cave and such until they actually have the items to get it, which is fine too.
Right. Yeah, it's just a difference in philosophy as to whether having that information is better or worse for you. In FajitaKnight's case, he collected his information, he did have the cape, he found out that there was nothing interesting there, so he has save and quit. He will turn that blacksmith in, collect his mirror, probably do the purple chest as well, and then where to? Head swamp, maybe?
Swamp definitely feels very tempting. One thing you could do, maybe, if you're just not dead set on having Turtle Rock as your final dungeon, is you could do Turtle Rock first. See if you're the last dungeon you need for Go Mode are there, and then maybe go mode Swamp. And if it's not, at least then after Swamp, you have the option of doing Pyramid Fairy as well. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what he does.
Well, there's that mirror. Belmont collecting his big key, which unfortunately just leads to... Well, I guess since he skipped the Ice Palace bomb jump, he needs this to clear the dungeon, but we also know that the big chest only contains a small key, which is not particularly helpful.
Yeah, it does need a small key too, at least, so...
Yeah, that's true. In addition to that cane of Samaria, these, if you've watched a lot of other randomizer races, you've usually seen runners doing the Ice Palace bomb jump, which allows you to skip the vast majority of this dungeon. But because both of these runners knew that they wanted to fully clear the dungeon, and because they have the cane of Samaria, they knew that it was possible for them to just not do the Ice Palace bomb jump and still do a pretty efficient route through the dungeon.
Yeah, I think it's actually slower if you have the cane smart. If you're intending to full clear it anyway, if you have that, both those options, I think you save yourself a trip up the stairs. So, all right, well, we'll see if Belmont has enough magic. I don't know if they have potions or not.
He's short. Yeah, he needs to open the door to the north and head back out, and he doesn't have a key remaining either, so he actually opened all the other keys. Yeah, that's... Oh, well, he'll be able to collect one from the pot to the right here, so he should be fine.
Yeah, it's a small little annoyance. Hopefully the anti-fairy doesn't body analyze in here.
It decided to come, you know, sniff him a little bit, but he said, no, thank you, sir.
Alright, that's good.
I hate the red Barries, dude. They're so annoying.
I just hate all of the jellyfish enemies in this game. I feel like I could say that about almost any enemy in the game, honestly.
If Belmont does manage to carry full health into this fight, there is actually a slight glitch that you can do where you can basically multiply the damage of the fire rod by shooting Cold Stare with the fire rod and then throwing a sword beam at him. And we'll see whether he's able to do that. He's again short on magic.
That ain't good. That ain't good.
Well, FajitaKnight turns around from the purple chest check and he is heading straight into swamp, so he's gonna flood the Light World Dam to be able to enter the Dark World dungeon. Oh, okay. He's fine.
Yeah, he's just using up all the magic he had before he popped in that, which is good. So now he has more fire rod shots.
Oh, the stupid ice dropping from the sky messed up his setup for the corner, but still not too bad of a start. Gonna throw out some fire rod shots, 2 of them with double hits. Very nice. There goes one puff. There go the other 2. Beautiful.
So yeah, he's really lucky at that blue potion. Does manage to get through the fight very cleanly. Really nice job.
Alright, well now he'll have to make a decision on where he heads next. Swamp certainly does seem like a pretty good play. They're still lacking the bow, they're still lacking the flute, if Mire becomes necessary for any reason. They could be lacking a Mire medallion if that's required, but really, the big item that neither runner's seen so far is that bow.
Yeah, that bow is the big one. Yeah, so it does look like Belmont will also be coming to Swamp Palace, and this definitely makes a lot of sense from his perspective. He's looking for 2 items right now. He's looking for the Ice Rod and the bow, and both those could definitely be in Swamp, so might as well get this out of the way.
FajitaKnight, for his part, he's looking for a sword somewhere, and he is looking for that bow, obviously. But he does have the Ice Rod already, which is a pretty nice advantage to have right now, especially as we're moving into these kind of late stages of this seed. It really looks like we're going to be in go mode pretty soon. But that sword, though.
That sword, though, yeah. Well, I mean, I guess the good thing about Turtle Rock when he goes up there is technically Turtle Rock is 8 items right now. It's the 5 in Turtle Rock, it's the 1 in Mimic Cave, and it's the 2 in Pyramid Fairy. So there's a decent chance of all the places you could check for that sword, besides Ganon's Tower, that might have one. We know 1 is in Pod. We don't know where the other 2 are. Well,
well, alright.
Oh my god.
So, FajitaKnight now rocking the Master Sword. He has got the requirement, the strict requirement, to be able to finish the seed. It would be really nice for him to have a Tempered Sword, because he'll still have to spin 12 times for each of the first 2 phases on Ganon if he stays with Master Sword. But he can finish the seed at least.
Yeah, and he will have the silver arrows at least for sure, because we did find those in Eastern Palace. And that could just tempt him to say, yeah, okay, we'll just do Master Sword again, and I've got silver arrows. I'm not scared of anything, you know?
You know, we'll see what his, well, we might have to see what his confidence level is when he gets to Ganon. But, you know, you're usually not hoping, per se, for the runners to have to do Silverless Ganon or Master Sword Ganon, because they're both pretty hard. Master Sword Silverless Ganon, of course, is incredibly hard, but even Master Sword by itself is pretty difficult.
Yeah, Master Sword can be easier or harder depending on the pattern sheet in Ganon. There are some locations where it's very easy to get multiple spin attacks like the top right, but it's still something you never want to go in there saying, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get great patterns, and it's gonna be perfect fight. I'm just gonna do great. You don't want that.
Well, Belmont will be picking up that Tempered Sword for him pretty shortly. That'll be really, really nice. His Ganon fight will become substantially easier thanks to being able to just perform sword slashes. But FajitaKnight, deep on the left side now, will be finding what's in these two left side chests. A red meringue. Oh boy.
Oh boy. The worst boomerang in the game.
And a map. Alright, well, Belmont making the, though he doesn't know it, correct choice to skip the left side, although I have a feeling if he doesn't find what he needs in the back, he will probably still head to the left.
Yeah, most likely. That's the kind of sketchy thing about this gamble when you're missing 2 items, you know? Because if there's an item on the left side, are you just going to skip that every time? That's a dangerous game you're playing there. But we will see.
Yeah, neither runner's really played this race in a risky, like, gambling type of way. They've both been pretty comprehensive in their routing. Like, this location's available, I'm going to go to it. It's just a matter of when and in what order.
Yeah, and we find the big key back here too, so...
That's always an annoyance. But Belmont will not opt to turn back and open it since he already has to come back in for left side anyway. He will go straight to Argus. Does not find anything along the way, so maybe there's something on Argus, but could also be like Compass.
Yeah, maybe. I think we saw one of the gem. Yeah, there's Compass, so Argus will have an item. So we saw the big key as well. Now these stairs are funny. Watch what happens to FajitaKnight.
He actually stopped there. I think he knows. Like, I think he's probably known about that glitch then. And I think there's a way you can fix it so that doesn't happen, but maybe he tried it, didn't work.
Yeah, I think I've seen Willard like fidget his way out of that spot, but I'm not sure exactly the method to do so. Oh, it's definitely faster, even with the stairs sending you back down. It's definitely faster to get that way than just come back in and get it.
Ooh, a nice attempt by Belmont to do the Fire Rod quick strat on this phase, but didn't quite work out for him, so he just goes for the Tempered Sword spins, wrapping up Argus and collecting a piece of heart. Yeah. This is like a theme in this seed. There is never anything nice for these runners.
No, not really. We've had like progression spread out very, very widely. Like we've gotten a little bit start, a little bit later, a little bit, and then a little bit, and then just nothing, a bunch of nothing between that.
All right, Belmont heading back in. He will check that big chest, check that left side. There are 2 items remaining to be found, unfortunately. They are 2 worthless items, so this is not really going to be a super helpful play for him. FajitaKnight will be finishing up the dungeon shortly, but his Argus fight's going to be pretty slow because of that Master Sword, so they'll probably, again, finish up at practically the same time, and then, again, the question is where to next?
Yeah, it seems pretty likely. I think what's going to happen is Belmont is just going to take the Turtle Rock gamble, that Ice Rod's in there, and FajitaKnight's just going to go up there after this because it's a required dungeon, and, you know, it opens up so many items for him. What could happen is Belmont gets all the way to Laser Bridge, does not find the Ice Rod, and then mirrors at the safety door, makes his way to Hera, checks the basement, finds the Ice Rod, and then drops back down into the safety door, the portal there, and this race gets really even again. We'll see if that happens.
Yeah, it's kind of a stretch to think that might happen at this point, but it certainly could. FajitaKnight completing Argus, collecting his crystal. Belmont is flooding the space that formerly contained a key, but he did go get it in case you only just looked away for a moment. So Belmont will check the left side. FajitaKnight is done with the dungeon. He has a Master Sword now, so he's going to check the Bombos tablet. I believe it had, if I recall correctly, disappointment.
Yes, I believe you are correct. I believe that's the word that we would describe on the Bombus tablet, disappointment. I believe if you actually can read Hylian, it says disappointment in Hylian on the tablet.
I guess you could describe it as
Wait,
Oh,
no, he
I'm
didn't.
just kidding.
What?
Holy crap, that is...
Huh?
Didn't Belmont
What?
check this?
What? No.
Did
what?
he not?
Huh? What is today?
Oh my gosh, not only did he not check it, he save and quit out of Swamp. So he's not about to check it. He's going back to Death Mountain. Now, it's possible this flute is not required, but if Bo is in the mire area or blocked by something in the mire area, that is massive.
That is very I am so surprised Belmont did not check that when they got the purple chest. Like, I'm so very surprised.
I just assumed he did. Like, I kind of looked away, and my brain was like, oh yeah, he went over there, and he must have done that.
Well, I look stupid now, don't I? I was talking down Bombos tablets, like, yeah, keep talking, buddy.
Well,
And
I guess the
Joss was-
disappointment was for us in how wrong we were.
Well, Bill might be disappointed as well if that ends up being required, that they didn't check that. These ancient Hylian prophecies sometimes are a little vague on purpose for that reason.
Oh man, Belmont got walled by a dead rock there, so he has to just go back in the cave and just try a second time, and they're still just getting right in his way. Oh my gosh.
I'm
That's
walking here, buddy.
Quake medallion for Meyer. Oh no.
Oh boy, this is... If Bo is in Turtle Rock, then this is kind of bad for FajitaKnight. It gives Belmont a big chance to catch up. If Bo is in Meyer, that's... Well,
we'll see if Fajita even decides that he wants to go in. Not necessarily guaranteed by any stretch. Meyer is, of course, a pendant, so, you know, definitely a lot of reason not to want to do it. But now Fajita heads in to Checkerboard Cave, which, of course, we have not seen yet. And what do we have here? It's a boomerang.
yeah, the better boomerang. Oh,
Okay, so he will not opt to go into Misery Mire just yet.
it is hard to blame him. Misery Mire's 2 items, it's a big dungeon with a lot of chests, takes a while. You don't want to do that. Especially with no bow. Like, if the other item's in Vitreous, and you feel compelled to complete it at that point, it's not a fun time.
The seed has been so weird, Melee. There's like, it's felt like it's gone so slowly, and yet we're very close to done with crystals. It's just that, like, the progression's been kind of metered out so gradually over the course of this entire seed.
Yeah, it has been. It's been decently open for most of it. Like, at the beginning, we kind of treaded the same ground, but we did see the runners take different routes around the mid-game. And the early decisions did kind of matter because we didn't find Ice Rod for Belmont because he didn't check Sick Kit early. So, yeah, it's definitely played out very interestingly.
Yeah, and that decision is still pretty much like the key difference here as far as how this seed will progress for Belmont through the rest of it. FajitaKnight now actually had not cleared Skull yet. This is one thing that I kind of forgot he had not done. So he has cleared Desert, but unfortunately Desert was not a crystal. Now we don't necessarily know whether... No, we do actually, right? Pedestal's dead completely.
Yeah. Because
Ooh.
bow is required for pod. Just have the fairy. No, this is helpful.
So Belmont got murdered by Chain Chomps, but did get revived by that fairy that he still had in his possession. And he picked up the big key there, so he has a couple of small keys, he has a big key so far in this dungeon, but only one non-dungeon item, and it was a big 20.
Yeah. I feel like if Belmont knows about that safety door, when they're done here, if they don't find the bow, they will probably head over to Hera, Because they also have the ether tablet. I don't believe they were able to check that. They didn't have the book at the time, right?
Even if they did, I don't believe they had a sword at that time at all. So yeah.
So we'll see.
Alright, FajitaKnight having cleared Mothula, fortunately still a very quick dungeon. So he is able to now make his way to his next spot in Belmont, collecting another small key from the vanilla big key location. So just a 1-for-1 key trade, not really going to help him too much, but this rest of this Turtle Rock here is kind of the several moments of truth here. And Fajita is going to check that pedestal.
Yeah, I mean, we do know at this point the worst thing it could be, I guess, is a sword for Hida. Okay, well, that's
10 arrows. Lovely.
oh, we gotta get those, man. What if I need them for Ganon?
I mean, they're 10 very powerful arrows. You can kill Vitreous 5 times with those.
Whoa, man, no kidding.
Okay, there was Ether Tablet check, by the way. We are reminded, and it was Couch Cash.
Okay, well, I know Fajita Knight did that because they checked Hype Cave. I'm not sure if Belmont did. There's a good chance they did. We'll see anyway.
Yeah, we're told though it was both runners did check.
Okay.
So, think they do have that knowledge, but meanwhile, Mimic Cave for Belmont, another arrow upgrade. Yawn. FajitaKnight is going to check the Graveyard Ledge. This is another location we have not seen yet. And this is kind of continuing his pattern of he's been very thorough and comprehensive in this seed. He's not really leaving any stone unturned, so good chance of, maybe he finds something good here.
Yeah, this is one of those spots. It's also really hard to check. It's very hard to route this in with anything if you don't find the mirror super early.
Good use of the Cane strats with some invulnerability off those blocks for Belmont. Unfortunately getting a little bit messed up on that last block, but he is through. He will do his unlit room here. This is actually one of the easiest dark rooms in the game.
Once you learn the pattern, it is definitely one of the easiest because it's on rails. If you get lost during it, that's bad. That's really bad because it's really hard to figure out where you are, but if you know the pattern, if you can kind of feel yourself moving, it's definitely one of the easiest for sure.
Well, FajitaKnight appears to be following Belmont into Turtle Rock, so not super crazy surprise or anything, but we'll see what is there to be found in here on Laser Bridge. Belmont finding a big 20, getting nearly killed by this laser, and so he is going to open that good old safety door. Now this will actually change his respawn location. And this safety door, I don't believe, is accessible by a drop down from the light world.
It is actually. That is actually, yeah. So you can definitely, you can put your mirror spot there, and you can jump down, and you can go, as long as you don't go to the Dark World save and quit, that portal will be there. And I've seen that used to great effect in some races where we don't have the Ice Ride and people make the Ice Ride gamble, and they check a light world location that has the Ice Rod, and come straight back, and it's really good.
Well, there's one death, but fortunately, of course, having taken that safety door, he does respawn at that same spot with a little bit more health too this time. So just one more chest left to check. This is not as easy as it looks, but with the boots, it can be sort of kind of quote-unquote free. I've been told sometimes by some people, but in reality, it's just always hard. And there's the bow. Wow.
All right, well, Belmont's done with that dungeon.
And
that's good and bad.
And quit. Oh, man.
It's good and bad.
Oh, man. Well, we'll see when he goes back up for Turtle Rock. But right now, he's going to go finish Eastern, his 6th of 7 crystals. FajitaKnight is going to get his bow on Laser Bridge, and that is going to put him in go mode. So it's just a question of how fast, after he finishes up Eastern Palace, will Belmont figure out to go to Tower of Hera basement, because that is where the Ice Rod is.
Yeah, that is the key thing here. He didn't go with the Dark World, so maybe he's not planning to clear Pod. Maybe he's just banking the Ice Rod's going to be Eastern Palace. It's really going to depend what he does after this. Because if he goes to pod, then that might be a little too much, but we'll see.
I'm always curious whether different runners are attempting to, kind of metagame, and if so, whether Belmont thinks he's ahead or behind in this case. It's really hard to say because I feel like you would think in his position, like, oh, I feel like I haven't played this seed very well, but you might also think, like, this seed doesn't allow anyone to play it very well. This is a hard seed. It's complex, everything's in crappy locations and metered out very slowly. So I feel like there's an equal likelihood that he either feels ahead or behind.
Yeah, if anything made him feel behind, I think it would be the pod dip that he did, because that didn't really pay out. Like, sure, got him a sword, but it wasn't required, and that did take a decent chunk of time. But it's hard to say. I know if I would have dipped pod and nothing was there, even if it was a sword, I would feel behind. Granted, I'm a little bit more inclined to feeling negative about the way things are going in these seeds. So we'll have to ask him at when he gets in for an interview, if we get him in here for one, how he's feeling at this point.
And of course, some runners don't even like to metagame. They just kind of get in their own world. They play their seed as well as they can play it, and at the end, either they win or they lose, and then they'll kind of evaluate afterwards. But they won't like try to metagame and say, "Oh, I need to take risks" or anything. Now they'll just play the same way every time.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely a more stable way to play.
It's definitely really hard to make correct decisions about taking risks in a randomizer, since you have no clue what your opponent's progress is going to be like. You just kind of have to, do something and hope that it was good. But anyway, Belmont quickly wrapping up his Armos Knights, 6 arrows to their brain buckets, and they are all gone. And he collects his 6th of 7 crystals, and now he needs to find that ice rod.
All right, this is a key moment for Belmont.
Meanwhile, FajitaKnight has a key moment of his own, picking up a small key from the Pokey and collecting another small key from this vanilla big key location.
Yeah, not quite as key as I would describe, but that is definitely a very key moment. Does look like Belmont's going to be coming down here to pod.
Oh boy. Every play that he makes that is not Tower of Hera basement is unfortunately just going to give FajitaKnight more and more of an opportunity to potentially run away with this, but we'll see. It has felt like Belmont's execution has afforded him a slight advantage time-wise over Fajita throughout this seed, but the routing has mostly worked in Fajita's favor, largely due to that ice rod.
Yeah, going up there with Lamp was gigantic, and it's one thing that you can say, like the sequence break from Belmont, like there's a lot of items up there, but it did hurt him more than it helped him in this seed, just because of not having the fire source going into Hera and missing that ice rod.
All right, Belmont hoping to find that ice rod on the bow side of pod, so he will head there. He also, of course, needs a small key to even be able to finish the dungeon. And he also did not check Harmless Hellway, which I believe, if I counted correctly earlier, should have a pretty good likelihood of being an item. So Belmont is going to have to invest a bit of time here while FajitaKnight wraps up Turtle Rock, but he is very, very close to collecting his bow for go mode.
Yeah, and then once he has that bow, it's just Eastern Pass, which is nice and quick. And yeah, so like I understand why Belmont came here. I mean, this is a good play. Like he's right here. This is green pendant as well, and the bow did get unlocked for completion. The bow did unlock this, so it could definitely be the ice rod here.
Unfortunately, it's bomb burst for now. And now, actually, I do believe if he were to open the Harmless Hellway, he would find that's just a key. So that's a miscount on my part, I believe. But Belmont's on top of it, so he will continue into the back and fight the boss of the dungeon. We'll see what we get here.
I'm expecting shields at this point, honestly. We haven't seen a lot of them.
That's true. We're still on level 1 shield. could still have a sword available somewhere. Unfortunately for FajitaKnight, none of the swords really seem like they're going to be in his path. Like, he's not going to go to pod, and certainly if Belmont finds one, either from King Helmasaur or from turning in the green pendant as a Hasala, FajitaKnight's not going to get that. So that will be an unfortunate turn for him, as he'll have to do Ganon with Master Sword only.
Yeah, it'd be unfortunate. I feel like there's a really good chance of one being in GT, but we'll see, I guess. I mean, sometimes all the swords are in pod. This does happen.
Yeah, GT's a good point, though. There's definitely a very solid chance of that. So FajitaKnight is working his way through the laser bridge. He's doing these dash strats fairly well. Just on that one was slightly messed up his movement getting through the gap there, but this one is good. He collects his compass. The next chest is the key. Here it is. Oh, he takes a shot in the face.
It's hard. This is hard.
Okay, he aborted that one. He knew it was not good. This one's good. There's the bow. FajitaKnight at an hour 40 is in go mode.
Think about getting this other chest. Probably just fishing for swords at this point. What I say? What I tell you?
Oh my god. Please, dude. Well, that, of course, will not matter too much for FajitaKnight, as I doubt he really cares about shields too very much, but he will still be hoping for that sword somewhere along the way. Belmont's going to turn in his green pendant. We'll see what that is, but every moment that he's spending not getting that ice rod is, you know, a moment of increased opportunity for FajitaKnight.
All right. I guess it wasn't a green pen. It was just 100 rupees.
Well, 100 rupees is not going to buy you an ice rod either.
No, it's not. Unfortunately.
He is going back to, oh my goodness. He may be going to Hera. This could be, he could be combining Hera and Spike Cave here. That would be very good for him, as he will get that ice rod if he just heads into the basement there. Yep, he's going left. There it is.
Oh man.
Ooh, FajitaKnight working on his hammer Trinites. This fight is not easy. He does have blue potions. He is trying to get those hammer hits, and he does get the ice head down, so just the fire head left to go. Again, it's all about those hammer hits, but the problem is the upward hammer hitbox is super awkward, and so is the Trinites hitbox in general. But here we go. He's got a whole bunch of hammer hits in there. Just a little bit more. One more. There it is. There's the firehead. So now he just needs to get through the second phase, which will be substantially easier than the first.
Yeah, and Belmont is coming back here to get the Dice Rod. This could actually swing the race in Belmont's favor. He might actually get ahead here. All he has to do is go back to Turtle Rock and kill Trinex, and then he can go straight to GT.
Yeah, Turtle Rock, with already having cleared the dungeon and just heading back in to finish it up, is pretty quick, actually. So Belmont has a very, very good position here now. We were pretty much afraid that it was just going to take him ages and ages to get back to this. But fortunately, he said, rather than doing Pendant Mire or something, or trying to find the flute or whatever, I'm going to come here. There's his Ice Rod. Belmont at an hour 43 is in go mode, and he just needs to finish up Turtle Rock. FajitaKnight has got Eastern Palace left, but he also has that Master Sword Ganon ahead of him. So really, this is Belmont's race to lose right now.
Yeah, that definitely was what he needed to do, and he did it. So he's looking really good right now. FajitaKnight does have the flute to get to Eastern Palace faster. Will also afford him to be able to buy potions, which he's doing now. But that Master Sword, he needs to find Tempered in GT.
I mean, yeah. I mean, well, he could be totally confident in the fight. Like, that's not necessarily what we're getting at when we say that he needs to find another sword. But the fact of Belmont having the Tempered Sword just means his fight, even if FajitaKnight executes Master Sword Ganon perfectly, is going to be way faster. So Not a great situation for FajitaKnight in that regard. We know that one of the swords is in the dark basement of Pod, which he is just not going to go to. There's no way.
Yeah, this is how much he's going GT after this for sure, no matter what. Even if he had Fighter Sword right now, he would go to GT. Say, I'm gonna find a sword in GT. I'm not looking for that. Are you crazy?
Yeah, I mean, you can always, like, if you don't find a sword in Ganon's tower in that condition, you can always just look after you finish the tower. Whereas, you know, in this case, like, you're going to finish the tower. You might not have a tempered sword, but you're gonna go fight Ganon, because what else can you do? You're trying to win a race there.
Yeah. So I guess in some ways, what I think was probably a mistake in not checking Bombos when he could, actually ended up working out for Belmont, because it gave him less places to actually check.
Yeah, I mean, any little time save at this point could be kind of the key thing, as this could be easily separated by a minute or two tops. Now, Belmont's trip through Turtle Rock is going to be very fast, and actually, Eastern Palace, while it is a pretty quick dungeon, it's actually slower than it seems, so it's a little bit time-consuming, this back section, and probably about the same time they will both be finishing their bosses, but FajitaKnight then has to travel up Death Mountain while Belmont will already be at the top.
Yeah, the thing that really kills Eastern is there's a lot of switches, there's a lot of screen transitions. It's not a big dungeon, but it just feels really slow because of that.
Some very nice hookshot vulnerability from Belmont there in the Dark Maze. Not really super dangerous because he does have powder and he can go ahead and use it on the anti-fairs coming up, but it's nice to just save some of those hearts of damage when you don't really need to take them.
Yeah, even hookshot it into the platform, so it wasn't actually out for that long, which lowers the time that you're actually standing still, which is really nice.
And he managed to get a fairy drop, actually, from that mini Helma. So that was pretty interesting, and saves him a little bit of time. He didn't need to powder anything. He's just heading straight into the fight. Going to be a lot faster and easier for him having the Tempered Sword in hand. Just 5 slashes with no item switching for each head.
Pete and I did manage to finish up Armos as well, so this is going to be close, one in GT.
A quick miss on the ice head there with a fire rod, but he should still be okay. There goes the ice head, so both heads are down. The main one will pop out shortly, as FajitaKnight is going to race up Death Mountain after Belmont. They're going to be practically synced, but again, there's that sword advantage. There's going to be a real problem for FajitaKnight.
Yeah. If they find a tempered sword, even if Belmont gets better sword, like better sword does make the fight a little bit faster, ideally. But if you're good with tempered sword, it can just be exactly the same as well. But tempered sword would be the thing that gets FajitaKnight. It would make this race super close.
Yeah, we'll see when they get there. As always, if y'all viewers would love to join in, you can always take a guess on what chest in Ganon's Tower out of 1 to 22 that Belmont will find this big key. Belmont will be the one entering the tower first, and we'll go by his count. This isn't speed gaming, so there's no like bot game for it. It's just for fun. Whatever you think they're going to find that particular item, and we'll see who's right.
What are you feeling today, Bulletin?
I generally like in the 6 to 8 range. I feel like it's pretty common, so I'm going to go with 8 today.
Okay, I'm going to go with 12, because why not?
12 is a good number. I like the number 12.
Usually I go torch, but I'm just going to 12 today.
All right. FajitaKnight just about to get to the entrance and watch the cutscene, entering just behind Belmont, who's going to check this Hope Room first. He is going to go with the right chest, which is a Cane of Burna, and the left one is a Piece of Heart. So he will need to go back upstairs and begin with the left side. His hopes are dashed, and we'll see what's on the torch.
Yeah, in theory, the deeper this big key goes, the better it is for FajitaKnight. More chances to get swords, which Belmont really doesn't need.
Oh man, FajitaKnight even opting to go left first. Seems a lot more common these days to see the right side played, but this one is also perfectly valid. We'll see whether he opts to do something like the Dark Magician route either, but for now, he sees that there's nothing on the torch. He's going to be heading to the Spellforce room, again right behind Belmont. Chest number 4, small key. Chest number 5, arrow upgrade. Number 6 is the big key, and he is going upstairs immediately, won't even bother checking the next one.
Oh boy. So this is going to be pretty close. I think FajitaKnight was more tempted to go left side just because they want to find a sword. They're probably not going to look for it though. They're probably just going to go.
Yep, FajitaKnight is mirroring straight upstairs and will be heading to the back of the dungeon. So this basically is Belmont's race to lose right now. He has a huge advantage thanks to that tempered sword. And unless there's like a validation gold sword or something, it's going to be pretty rough for FajitaKnight now.
Yeah, it definitely could. Definitely then comes down to execution now as well, because the advantage that the tempered sword gives can easily be nullified like by a fall or a death. So this race is really close still. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, considering how different their routing was through the middle of the game and that ice rod advantage that FajitaKnight was able to find, the fact that they are entering Ganon's Tower and walking up at like practically the same time is very impressive. Belmont taking a fall there on the Cannonball Bridge, but that just gives him invulnerability frames that he can use to dash straight through the second time, so he's good. Belmont, I don't believe, ever made a shopping trip, did he?
I don't believe so. He didn't have the flute, so there was never really a convenient time for him to do that. And I don't think he has any more potions.
Ooh, boy. All right, so we'll have to monitor Belmont's health and just, you know, you really don't want to see a runner take a death. I'd rather see FajitaKnight like just have incredible execution and like if you were gonna win, like catch up that way. But that certainly could be a factor in enabling FajitaKnight to get back in this.
Ooh, down to 3.5 hearts. Has to be very careful.
Oh god, this room is just not very fun. Oh, and he takes a BMOS hit as he's going through the door. That is rude.
If he can get through this room, he has the powder. But if this room is not... Okay.
He just needs to avoid getting hit by both of those things. He does. What a great slight change of direction there to not get killed. And now he is going to be able to powder and get a fairy. So he's got 9 hearts for the rest of the tower. And coming into Landmo's 2, this unfortunately means the top 2 Landmos spawn basically at the same time. So kind of an annoyance here.
It's much harder to get the 0 cycle. He's out of arrows! Oh my god!
Wow, okay, there should be, I believe there's an arrow pickup in the next room. We'll see if he's aware of it. FajitaKnight, still working on his gauntlet, is doing pretty well. He was making good use of the fire rod rather than his silver arrows. Oh, getting wrecked by the BMOS there.
Okay, there's 5 arrows in this room.
There they are. He checks all the pots. He is at 8 hearts. FajitaKnight is coming in and also going to powder the bunny, so he is right behind Belmont, but again, with that sword disadvantage. But if Belmont takes a death somewhere along the way, that might not mean a whole lot.
Yeah, and if Belmont... Oh, okay, never mind. I was about to say, if he misses too many arrows on Ganon, which is, you know, not unlikely, but if he did, he only had 5, but now he's 10.
Yeah, one would think that the 10 will be sufficient for him, so that's a good place for him to be in. As FajitaKnight wrapping up the second Landmola's fight. Belmont taking a fall. Oh, that firebar is in a really awkward place. He's actually going to have to wait for the torch to go out melee.
Yeah, and that's annoying. He's probably going to be careful in this room up here too, so he doesn't accidentally despawn the tower.
Yeah, if he goes up the stairs on the same frame that the torches go out, but he just says, I'm confident, it's fine, everything's alright. So no sprite despawn for him. He is at the end of the tower. He has got his 2 keys. He does not need to do anything here, check any chest, kill any enemies if he doesn't want to, other than Moldorm 2.
Looks like FajitaKnight's just clearing the way, gonna grab that small pot, so they don't have to waste their blue potion.
So taking an intentional fall to be able to get back to the beginning to drop the last lamp hit into the thing. Belmont, both of these runners took a fall to Mordorn 2 earlier, but Belmont this time says, nope, I am wise to your tricks, and he will collect the last chest in the game, which is the Ether Medallions. There you go.
Alright, so we'll see if these two chests yield a sword. If it is, that's really good for FajitaKnight.
Well, it might be too little too late. It was a piece of heart and an arrow upgrade here. Belmont heading into Aga 2 already. FajitaKnight's still following. He's going to want to check both of those chests. We know one of them is the Ether Medallion, so that's not going to help. Oh my goodness, that was a glorious. Looked like a triple, I think.
Really good at these lineups from Belmont.
My goodness, and FajitaKnight will not get a Tempered Sword. Okay, I think it was a double, so 2-2-1. And there you go. Aga 2 is down for Belmont. He will be heading to the Ganon fight momentarily with his Tempered Sword. FajitaKnight, he gets a fun old time with Moldorm 2 having only the Master Sword.
And now Moldorm 2 is going to go crazy. He's going crazy.
He mad.
Oh no.
That is why this fight is really unfortunate with only the Master Sword.
Yeah, unfortunately, he did poke him instead of spin him once, so...
Alright, so FajitaKnight gonna take another shot at this. Oh gosh.
Feels bad.
Belmont, meanwhile, busting out the spin strats for this first phase. Trying to get all his hits in before the spin began again, but didn't quite. But now he will be on to phase 2. So here we go. He's going to even just use the cape. Does he have a potion?
I don't think so. He has to be really careful. He can't use this magic.
He's taking a fair bit of damage. FajitaKnight has gotten through Moldorm 2.
Yeah, if Belmont takes a death here and he runs out of magic, that's pretty big.
Alright, I believe that's enough hits now. Yeah, he's on to phase 3. Does, unfortunately, let a Fire Bat loose, but he is okay to dodge it, and so he is going to be safe here, but now he just has to be careful in this last phase. The danger level goes massively down once you're past phase 2.
Yeah, it does. As long as you don't walk into him like some people, should be fine. It does happen sometimes, but falling is a bigger risk at this point.
Ooh, gosh. Okay, he's fine. That's fine. That's totally fine. Everything is fine. Here we go with the silver arrows. He got one. Managed to get his torch glitch.
Two to go.
There's an easy double setup, and that is it for Belmont.
Oh man.
He will be taking the victory today and moving to 2-1 as FajitaKnight will be joining him in the Ganon fight momentarily. But Belmont is going to be able to walk through the door with an official SpeedRacing.tv time of 1 hour, 57 minutes, and 22 seconds.
Yeah, that was really, really well done. We thought that Belmont was behind for a lot of it, and then going to Tower Hair at the right time, managed to actually swing it in his favor. So that was really good.
Yeah, it was a very insightful play by him to make that play back to Hera. Meanwhile, FajitaKnight's going to begin Ganon, and this is going to be a pretty challenging fight. So we'll see about getting Belmont in for a chat, but we're gonna watch this first, as FajitaKnight is going to need some very good execution here to be able to pull off this Master Sword only Ganon. Again, it's 12 spins required for each of the first 2 phases. You cannot damage him with Master Sword slashes.
Yeah, he did pick up some potions, so I expect he'll be able to get this no trouble, but it's still something that can go wrong very easily, especially the second phase.
Well, he has moved on to phase 2 now, and he's got the Fire Bat spinning, but unfortunately, that position by Ganon is just incredibly inconvenient. Oh, but he gets the top right position. That's perfect. So now he can just stand in the corner. He should be able to get all his spins in. That is glorious.
This is the dream pattern right here.
Oh, getting a little bit bodied, but he's got potions. Oh, he missed. I think he was short by 1 or maybe 2. Now he's done. Alright, it's just a little bit of dodging. Now things will become a fair bit easier. He still needs to get spins to even damage Ganon, but it's still only 4 spins for phase 3, and then just one per stun in the final phase. So this part is a lot less bad. Phase 2 is really the hard part for Master Sword Ganon.
Yeah, the fire bat just body block. Yeah, it's really hard to actually damage Ganon. He's just teleporting like crazy.
Apparently the witch's shop having the shovel. Nice time.
Okay. Well, I don't know where the mushroom was, but
We've never seen it. Alright, so FajitaKnight's just going to make sure to dodge the fire bat, set up his torch glitch, and now we'll go in for the spin. Ooh. Ooh. Oh no!
oh man.
Oh god, he actually almost went for the silverless style attack there. Just needs to get a spin in kind of at the normal time. And there's 1 silver. 2 silvers.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder to set up silver hits because, of course, you move slower with the spin charge, but 1 more to go.
Yep, and good job here. There it is. The 4th arrow defeating the big pig. And FajitaKnight will be wrapping up in just a moment as he waits for the fanfare.
Really close race.
There it is, with an official time on speedracing.tv of 2 hours and 45 seconds. FajitaKnight finishing the seed. Coming in 2nd place, unfortunately not victorious today, but a great performance by both of these runners, both of whom told us that they were very new to Randomizer. Belmont within 2 months, FajitaKnight since the fall tournament, but they both played incredibly well.
They did very well, and 3 minutes-ish apart is really good for any race. Little things will add up in a randomizer, but generally, I think 5, maybe 10 minutes apart, depending on how much you're routed, that's a really good time. That shows that you're really close to your opponent. Maybe just made a bad call at one point, maybe made a good one, or your opponent made a good one, and all that stuff. But yeah, definitely a really good performance by both of them. Very impressed.
Well, we will be joined by our victorious runner, Belmont, right here in the voice chat. Tried to combine the words chat and call. Anyway, Belmont is here. Belmont, congratulations on the victory today with what was a pretty challenging seed. Overall, what were your thoughts about it?
I'm sorry, I had Discord muted. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, well, I'll definitely repeat the congratulations part because you certainly
Thank you.
deserve that.
Thank you.
And then also the question was just, the seed was really challenging from start to finish with a lot of very unusual kind of paths required to progress. What did you think about the seed overall, and how did you feel you were able to deal with it?
Well, the fact that I sequence breaked up to Death Mountain without Light Source and hoping there's nothing in Hera Basement, and then at the end, I was about to go up there, Spike Cave, then Bombos before diving into other dungeons for the Ice Rod.
Yeah, I mean, that was the key play. At that time, that was the big difference between you and FajitaKnight. He was basically wrapping up the last 2 dungeons at the same time, but he had the Ice Rod already. Basically, going back to, like, near the very beginning, when you went to Death Mountain, you sequence broke the lamp. FajitaKnight had gone to Sick Kid and gotten the lamp already, and that allowed him to get the Ice Rod early. So for a very long time, it seemed like that was going to be the difference maker, but you did a very good job of just every other play you made was pretty much the right play.
Yeah, I just lucked out in the end that I went there instead of checking other stuff. I put up the stream after I saw FajitaKnight. He missed a sword somewhere, or well, I guess 2 swords. I missed 1.
Yeah, the 1 sword that he missed was in Palace of Darkness basement. That was the one that you ended up collecting. He just had never even had to go into pod because there was just nothing there.
What was the first sword he got? Because I know that was my first.
King's Tomb, actually.
Yeah.
So he got King's Tomb and he got the Swamp Palace sword, and those were his only 2 swords. But he had a really good Master Sword Ganon. That actually would not have been the difference between you two because you actually were able to enter the fight and complete it before he did. But just overall, a very similar performance between the 2 of you. It was really a great race to watch.
Thanks.
So I'm
I'll
gonna.
have to rewatch it.
Yeah, definitely do. So I'll throw a question about your like experience level, because you mentioned in your questionnaire you've been playing Rando for about 2 months, but like your performance today does not look like the performance of a player who's been playing Rando for 2 months. Like all these little things that you have picked up on, like you have all the bomb jumps down, knowing things like using like the tree faces to boost yourself forward. Like how much time within those 2 months have you put into Rando?
Playing Rando itself, I probably play like 1 or 2 runs a day, and I watch a lot of streams, and I tend to pick up tech that I see from some top streamers, like say Andy.
Well, that is never a bad plan. I can definitely say, and it showed in both of your play. Again, like FajitaKnight, also a runner who said like, oh yeah, I picked it up like around the fall tournament, a little bit after maybe. But both of you just doing all sorts of cool, like difficult strats that were really impressive to watch.
I actually started with Key Sanity because I got injured into watching the Key Sanity tournament, so I guess going into the tougher difficulty first helped carry me a little bit doing standard.
Well, let me actually ask you about that then, because Key Sanity routing, of course, is very, very different from standard routing. How has that transition been for you since you primarily started with that mode?
When I first started standard, like I'd still do Key Sanity stuff like dip dungeons early that would probably ultimately be unneeded. But other than that, I don't really know. Like, because like when you do Key Sanity, like you don't want to go into like say swamp or until you get like small key and stuff like that, or you'll dive Turtle Rock early if you get the key skill or laser bridge. Sometimes.
Well, in this seed in particular, of course, and really in V29 in general, it does seem like sometimes diving even pendant dungeons can be pretty important and helpful. In this seed in particular, you were spared a little bit. You didn't have to go to Mire, at least.
Yeah.
Here's
I didn't get the flute, so.
Yeah, so let me ask you about that. When you went to turn in the purple chest, you did not also check the Bombos tablet. Was that like a mistake, or was that just like, oh, I am gonna skip that location?
That I forgot about it, honestly, and I guess it saved me.
Yeah, that was the flute.
It would have been nice to have early, but the flute would make me want to go into Mire. Although Mire only has 2 items, so I don't know if I'd go there before like checking Hera and Spike Cave.
Yeah, I mean, like there's clear benefit to prioritizing that Spike Cave and Hera place, so that was a really good choice on your part. But yeah, as it turned out, there wasn't anything particularly bad in the Mire area. It was just like a minute and a half or so of Fajita's time to go check that out. But actually, I guess a little bit more than that too.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's just say that was the difference in the race. Yeah.
That and then me not going to Sick Kid earlier for Death Mountain would have both been the key plays.
Yep, for sure. Melee, do you have any thoughts or questions for Belmont?
I think you covered most of it. I guess the other thing that we were gonna ask that I don't think got asked was when you went to Turtle Rock and you found the bow there. Did you at that point did you feel ahead or did you feel behind or did you just not even think about that?
I felt even or behind because I still didn't have the Ice Rod, and that's also kind of why I went straight into Pod after Eastern, hoping that the Ice Rod was behind the bow and not something I missed or somewhere I haven't been yet.
Okay. All right. Yeah,
Makes sense. All right. Well, this has been a really fun race to watch. I was really impressed by both of you, both coming in with those pretty much 2-hour times on just a really complex seed that could easily have been pretty rough. So again, GG Belmont, congratulations on the victory. You're going to go to 2-1.
Yep.
And
thank you.
Go up against increasingly difficult competition as well.
Yeah, just gotta play more and get better and not make tiny mistakes. Like one of the things that kind of hurt me, Ice Palace, like I went down, realized I didn't have magic. I didn't have enough magic, went up, went back down, realized I already opened the pots, don't have enough magic anyway. So I had to use the blue pot to restore my magic for Cold Stare. And then I had a pretty good Cold Stare fight for Master Sword, I think.
Yeah, both of you guys had pretty solid Cold Stare fights. Fajita having to go in with the Fighter Sword as well, so...
Oh wow, that...
Yeah, no, that's no one's idea of fun. Alright then, well, we'll call it a night, and we'll get wrapped up, and we'll all head off to watch still more randomizer action, because I'm sure if you go check out any of the following 10 channels, either twitch.tv/speedgaming, or speedgaming 2 through 6, or ALTTP randomizer, or ALTTP randomizer 2 through 4, you will almost certainly find more randomizer action going on. In fact, I would say 100% chance of finding more randomizer to watch. So definitely give all those channels to follow and check out that action. The tournament continues for many, many more weeks, so you will have no shortage of randomizer. But until then, thank you very much to Deuceme, our tracker for today. Thank you to Estolia for restreaming today, and of course Melee. It was a pleasure to join you for commentary today. Go ahead and close this out.
Yep, thank you very much. I feel the same way. I had a lot of fun. This is a great race. I definitely give both our runners a follow. And yeah, thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.